Hi guys, welcome back to another Bourbon Santa video. Today we're going to do something that's a little near and dear to my heart. I told you guys in a previous video about my history with whiskey and how when I was young I enjoyed a little too much whiskey, and that put me off whiskey for a very long time. And as I got into whiskey again, it started with Irish whiskey. I was drinking Jameson and experimenting on that end of the pool because it didn't remind me of bourbon, and bourbon was a problem for me because of my early experience with alcohol. So I was dipping my toes into the Irish end of the pool, and then my best friend got me pretty deeply into Scotch. And I kind of became a bit of a Scotch snob, and I kind of ignored bourbon for a long time. And then about, 5 or so years ago, one of my other very, very close friends, Mariana, kind of rekindled my love in bourbon. And it was with, as a matter of fact, it was with Larceny. We were visiting her in Macon, Georgia. My wife and I were visiting her, and she asked me if I wanted a drink, and of course I said yes, and she had a couple different bourbons available, and I chose to try Larceny. And it rekindled my love for bourbon. And from then on, and the rest has been history. I dove in headfirst into the deep end of the pool, started collecting, started buying everything. So 2 years ago, I bought my first Bookers. That was when this batch came out. The 2018-02 Backyard BBQ batch of Bookers. That was my first Bookers ever. It wasn't my first cast strength, but it was my first Bookers. I always thought, at that point in my journey, I was more on the cheaper end of bourbon. I didn't think bourbon was worth spending $80-$90 on. So I shied away from anything that was that expensive, because at that point in my tasting journey, all bourbons kind of tasted the same. I wasn't really pulling out, the nuances at that point. I could see a big breadth and scope of different flavors in Scotch, but in bourbon I was having trouble really picking out those differences. So I finally bit the bullet and bought a bottle of this Backyard BBQ. And I immediately fell in love with it. And that year I probably drank 3 bottles pretty easily, and then I saved one. And that started my journey of collecting Bookers. So from then on, I would buy 2 of each release that came out. I would drink one and save the other. And then I had a couple from 2017, and I wasn't blown away by the 2017 ones that I had tried. And then I've had a few others that I've loved along the way. Then we got to 2019-03, which was the Country Ham, which then I fell in love with the Country Ham, and it became my current favorite Bookers. And I've stocked up on it. I have 3 extra bottles other than this one. This is my open one. I have 3 sealed bottles of Country Ham so that I don't run out anytime soon. But I haven't come across a new bottle of 2018-02 other than the one I have saved in my collection. I figured someday I would do like blind flights of each year, or just flights in general of each year, and compare them to previous years. So at current, I have all of 2017, all of 2018, 2019, and the first 2 releases of this year, 2020. So by the end of this year, I'll have those 4 full years collected, and then I'm going to start doing those flights to see how they all compare to each other. But I probably won't continue collecting Bookers in the same way after this year. The price increases on Bookers, you know, right now we're sitting at $100 a bottle. And I don't know if it's worth $100 a bottle. So I don't know if I'm going to continue collecting them the way that I have been. But I thought it would be fun, since I had a very close friend send me a new bottle of 2018 O2 Backyard BBQ. I thought it would be fun to compare the bourbon that made me fall in love with Bookers with my current favorite Country Ham and see which one I like better. And we're going to do it blind. I have them here in front of me. I don't know which is which. That's what you have kids for. And yeah, I think this will be fun. So far, Country Ham is the reigning champ. Now, I've never compared these two directly. I have compared this 2019 03 to my bottle of Booker's 30th anniversary that I still have a few samples left, but that bottle's done. And I didn't think the 30th anniversary was better than the Country Ham. It was hotter. The 30th was kind of like fighting with itself. I wasn't happy with the blend that they did for the 30th anniversary. I felt that there was too much young whiskey in it with the older whiskey, and that the older whiskey maybe was a little too bitter. I didn't love the Booker's 30th anniversary, which really depressed me because I spent a lot of money on that bottle. But the Country Ham beat it several times in blind flights here. So I thought it would be fun to go back and see if Country Ham stacks up against the Bookers that made me fall in love with Bookers in the first place. So let's try this out. Okay, on the nose, we've got peanut, caramel, toffee, like cinnamon toast with buttered bread, a bit of tobacco and leather. The nose is great. The nose is wonderful. It's got so much going on. By the way, I absolutely love these Black Glens. They look so cool to me. Oh, I know you can't see the bourbon color, but I don't get crazy about that. Unless there's a drastic difference between two bourbons, the color of a bourbon doesn't really impress me all that much. I mean, if it's super dark and luxurious, yeah, that's pretty. But when you're comparing whiskeys, who cares what they look like? It doesn't make a difference to flavor, just knowing what the color is. Black Glens. Yeah, the leather is almost like saddle leather. Okay, let's nose this one. Okay, this is like a cinnamon roll with icing, buttered toast. There's peanut here, but it shows up more as like a peanut brittle. That's what it's like. Yeah, peanut brittle. There's a caramel, but it's more like a candied caramel, like a soft caramel, than this one, which had like a liquid caramel flavor. And I'm getting more cherry and vanilla on this one than I was on this one. That nose, whew, that nose is fantastic. Let's try the taste. Okay, this one, the palate is very spicy. Black pepper, like almost cayenne pepper. Spicy like jalapeno, spicy like hot. Not like it's got a lot of spices in it, like spicy. Yeah. The peanut flavor, the peanut dust is there. The finish is pretty short, other than the little Kentucky hug it gives you. That's the lingering thing, is the warmth in your chest. And like you can feel it all the way to your stomach. Like you can feel that when this is hitting your stomach, you feel the warmth in your stomach. And the proof-wise, I think they're real close to each other. Yeah, couple percentage points different between the two. About four proof different. And age-wise, they're super close. The ham is 6 years, 4 months, 2 days. The Backyard BBQ is 6 years, 2 months, 10 days. So a couple months different in age. Couple of percentage points, like 4 proof points. So relatively close. This one doesn't give you... The nose is way more complex than the taste. And I find that on all Bookers. Really, the nose is always way more complex than the flavor profile is for me. And that is kind of a downside to Bookers. I could sit and smell a Bookers all day. But actually tasting it, you're only getting a few notes on the palate. And I think part of it is that it's the heat is overwhelming. And some of the flavors are so robust that they drowned out other things. Like, I feel like I'm getting hints of other things that I just can't put my finger on, because, like on this one, the black pepper and the spicy, almost cayenne pepper are just drowning that stuff out. There's other stuff from the nose, I think, going on there on the palate, but they're just getting kind of pushed to the side. Let's try the taste on this one. Oof. This one, that peanut brittle that I was getting on the nose, shows up on the palate. It's spicy too. It's got the black pepper. It's got the cayenne's turned down on this one a little bit. It's not quite as spicy there. And the finish on this one is longer in that you have like the peanut, like long after you've swallowed peanut butter, you have that kind of feel in your throat. That's remaining on this one. And the finish on this one's much longer. It's less burny, less alcohol forward on the palate, and it doesn't hit you as hard with the Kentucky hug as this one does. I'm getting a little bit of that toffee, a little bit of that caramel showing up. Like they're identifiable on this. It's not overwhelming with the spice to where you can't pick out some of those other notes. So, that being said, let me just A-B the nose for a second. It's interesting because this has more going on the nose. This has a little less going on, but they're a little more defined. Like this one, some of the flavors are kind of melting into each other. And so you're left going, okay, is that this or is it this? This one, the notes are so clear and so upfront that you're not trying to figure that out. I think this one is a prettier, lighter, more friendly nose. This one is a little more robust, a little more in your face. So it really just goes up to what you're looking for on the day for that. I think in this moment, I have to give the nose to this one. And let's just A/B taste real quick. Okay, yeah. This one drinks a lot hotter. This one drinks a lot hotter than this one. And I think I have to give the palate to this one. I have to give the palate to this one, and I have to give the finish to this one. But I have to give the nose to this one. So I guess that means that this one won. So I'm curious. Let's see which one it is that came out the winner. It's Backyard BBQ. Backyard BBQ. Wow. Backyard BBQ is the one that made me fall in love with Booker's. Deservedly or not, because there have been some batches of Booker's since this one that, honestly, I didn't like at all. Teresa's batch? Oh, God. Even Shiny Barrel batch. Shiny Barrel batch was decent, but wasn't great. Wow. I'm surprised by that. I fully expected Country Ham to win the day here. I expected Country Ham to kick the shit out of Backyard BBQ. Wow. Yeah. They both have wonderful noses. Both are wonderful, wonderful Bookers. The real difference to me is that Ham drinks hot. It drinks real hot alcohol-wise, and that drowns out some of the flavor profile that you could be getting if it drank a little milder. And what's interesting is Ham is the lesser alcohol of the two, but they don't drink like it. This one is 2% hotter. 2.05% hotter than the Country Ham, and it drinks milder and smooth. I hate to use that word, but smoother than Country Ham. It's not fighting you with the alcohol. It's not hitting you with a big alcohol note and drowning out other things. Wow. I guess I should have been collecting the Backyard BBQ instead of so many Country Hams. I still love Country Ham, but the barbecue wins the day. Amazing. This is what whiskey's all about. Tasting and learning and seeing, is your favorite still your favorite? Time goes by and you try other things and your palate changes and then of course, the whiskey in the bottle changes as it goes down, you get more air in it. Interesting. That was really a fascinating comparison. I'm glad I did this. Thanks for watching. Until next time, have a great day.